Let's get right into it, trench diggers. Today, we're going to look at an ancient drill, as old as the art of snowboard carving itself. But even in modern times, this drill has many applications. It's the fastest way to get aspiring carvers high up on their edge. It has also helped many experienced carvers perfect their initiation, and it's the foundation of the Carve 360. This is the J turn. Watch closely. Ready position, toe side position. Here we go again. Ready position, head check. Toe side position. Bang, we're carving, just like that. With this one, we're going to slow down a little bit. Drop into that toe side position. I want you to look at the patience in this turn. Look how stable my body position is relative to my board throughout almost the entirety of this turn. See that? Drop in the position and just hold it. Be patient. One more for good measure. And up in the fluff, finish it off with a flat spin. Let's look at some heel sides. Ready position, heel side position. J turn. Here, we're going to look again at that patience part. See how my body is super stable relative to my board through the whole turn, right to the end. Last one for good measure. And heel side, J turn. Whoa. All right. Okay. J turn. First, we're going to look at why we do the J turn. Then we're going to look at how we do the J turn, including a tip on how to take that 180-degree J turn into a 270 and eventually a 360-degree carve, which looks awesome and feels amazing. And finally, we're going to look at a couple of my own failed J turns and see what went wrong so we can begin to assess what kinds of mistakes you might be making and how to address them before you learn bad habits. So the J turn is actually a beginner carver exercise that dates back to the 80s or 90s. But it's also a very effective exercise for experienced carvers who are having trouble in the transition. As they finish one turn, initiate the next turn, they're very often just kicking their board and just scrubbing a little bit of speed and reorienting. And it's a bad habit. We want a smooth transition. So the board, comes from the edge, flat, and back up on edge without any pivot. Okay. So the J turn teaches people who otherwise are good carvers, but just have a little trouble with that initiation, how to just kick their board up, angulate high, and carve. It's going to teach you what it feels like when you kick that board way up, how the board's going to react to subtle changes in your body position and your movements. And you need to know that, not just mentally know it, but your body has to learn how to control the board when it's so high on edge, and the J turn is excellent for that purpose. And also the J turn, as I said, is the foundation for the 360. When I come in straight for a 360, it's basically a J turn with a very thin track, maintaining a lot of speed so I can keep carving around as far as possible. So, I didn't want to call this video How to Carve a 360 Part 1 because I don't want to be feeding you clickbait. But the How to Carve a 360 video is coming soon. Subscribe. Okay, and the last reason why we do the J turn is pretty much just to slow things down, isolate the turn, be safer, and learn that body position without all the intensity. So, for example, right, if this is a regular S turn, when I make this transition, okay, and now I'm angulating, I'm on the edge, what's happening through this part of the turn? I'm accelerating. I'm fully committed. I am barreling straight towards the side of the run here, and it can be very intense, right? And the edge pressure builds through the patience part of the turn, and then finally I start to decelerate, and now, maybe there's a bump coming, maybe I have to do a head check. It's just a lot of things coming at you at once. By doing a J turn, okay, as soon as we initiate right around here, we're already starting to decelerate. So it just slows things down, calms things out. We take it one turn at a time, and we can do, one focusing on the knees, then followed by one focusing on the hips and one focusing on the shoulders. And your body will learn much more quickly how to adjust these movements, how your board's going to react when it's high up on edge like that. And this is going to help you progress much faster into these types of carves. Okay, so this is, backwards, but this is the shape of a J. What I would like you to do is just come up and finish your turn just like that, heading straight uphill. When you're ready, when your track is thin, you're feeling confident, try to push that into 270. See what you can do. And eventually into a full 360 or even more. If you have to, finish with a flat spin, finish with a tail spin. It doesn't really matter. All this is going to help you progress towards that 360 carve. Let's go to the crack house and let's look at the 3 body positions and how we transition between them. Okay, welcome to the crack house. So named for the wood cracks in the corners, not for that other thing. We're looking at the J turn today. I'm going to demonstrate 3 positions: the ready position, the heel side position, and the toe side position. And we'll talk a little bit about how to get from the ready position to the heel side or to the toe side. And I'm going to remind you about the head checks too, super important. Let's look first at the ready position. So I'm in my stance, my knees are bent, my hips are facing the front of the board, my hands are over the front of the board, just a little bit ahead of my front toes because I want to be leaning a little forward on initiation, okay? And that's it. We're bending, hips forward, shoulders forward, holding your tray. Don't spill that tray. Remember, imagine you're holding a tray with your beer. You want to get to the bottom without spilling that beer. So whatever else you do with your body, that tray must remain level. That's the ready position. Very easy. Come from wherever, boom, into that by twisting at the hips. Bring those shoulders to face the front of the board. Now we're going to drop into the heel side position first. Okay. We're going to focus on 3 body parts while we're doing this. The knees are going to go this direction. The hips are going to thrust forward and twist a little bit, and the shoulders are going to remain level. So this is what it looks like. Basically, I'm just almost like you're sitting in a chair. Boom. Just like that. Now, okay. So if you watch the video on the hill, you're not going to see this exaggerated knee motion. You're not going to see this exaggerated twist. That's why I took the board off. I wasn't able to demonstrate in my very stiff setup. But I am pressuring the knees in that direction, and I am twisting at the hips and at the shoulders. The whole body twists as I drop down in that heel side position. The reason in the video you see my backhand stays over my front toes pretty much through the whole turn is because as I make that twist, the board is also turning, okay? But I'm driving that board into the turn with the hips, with the shoulders, with that backhand, and I'm keeping the shoulders level by stretching in the front obliques and crunching in the rear obliques. I can feel that crunch right here. That's what's going to be important to keep those shoulders level. One more time on heel side. Ready position, hips forward. Boom, just like that. Now toe side. Ready position is identical. Head check. Do not forget the head check. I know a lot of carvers who have been badly injured. Please do your head checks. You may have the right of way, but those guys may not care. Ready position. All set. Boom. Okay. This time, the knees drop that direction into the corner, into the turn, but slightly rearward towards the tail of your board. The hips come forward even more exaggerated. Remember, we talked about steering with your dick. This is it. Thrust those hips forward into the turn, and we're going to twist them this direction this time. Boom. See that hip movement? And the shoulder movement is always the same. You keep those shoulders level, keep the tray level, okay? To achieve this, when my board is so extremely angulated, I need to stretch on the toe side in the rear obliques and crunch over in the front obliques. There it is. One more time. Ready position, toe side position. Ready position, toe side position. Just like that. Knees go in this direction. Hips thrusting, twisting, shoulders always level. One more thing I want to mention while I'm here is how to take this 180 J turn and start to push it towards 270 and eventually 360. The trick is going to be in the fore aft motion. In the basic J turn, I just want you to focus on these motions. I want to simplify it, get you used to being high up on your edge, see how the board reacts, see what you have to do to maintain control of your board when it's so high on edge. Once you get better at it and you want to turn that 180 into a 270 and eventually a 360, the trick is going to be to move your weight backwards through the turn. So we start forward, Remain forward as you make that drop, but as you move through the turn, come back. More weight on the back foot, less weight on the front foot. And that's going to help you to carve the tail of your board at the end of the turn, which doesn't require as much speed. So just a small tip to get you into that 270 mark. The actual how to carve a 360 video is coming later. Anything else? No. Found it. We're done. Boom.
Okay, we're learning today the toe side J turn. The tray is meant to keep your shoulders level while you drop your knees. So go ahead and drop your knees and don't spill that water. Okay, can you get up?
I dropped it.
So after working on the analysis of these two failed J turns, I began to realize that it was getting a little too technical and probably a little too boring for most of you. So I took all that out. Instead, I'm just going to put a clip of each in slow-mo, and we're going to call it an extra credit assignment. Analyze them if you like, and see if you can see the subtle differences between these two failed turns and all the successful turns that went before. Put it in the comments. Let's talk about it. Thanks for watching. I appreciate your support, and I hope you like the video. Share, subscribe, like, comment, all that stuff, blah, blah, blah. But in truth, the fact of the matter is, it's one of my goals for this season to grow my subscribership on YouTube, so you'd be doing me a solid. What follows here are a whole bunch of clips of Evelyn attempting the toe side J turn back from that same day when we were working on dry land there in the living room. I think it's hilarious. The comedy is really in just the sheer number of clips that we have from that day. Quick heads up, risers are coming soon. I'm going to have 50 sets delivered to my house within 48 hours. They'll be up for sale on the store within the week. These are risers of my own design, manufactured locally with help from engineers and feedback and input from the king of modern riser design, the man himself, JCJ Anderson. Only 50 sets in this first batch. There will be more batches, but 50 to start. Also, a reminder, there are still 4 Exegi double wide boards left in the store. I know a lot of you are holding out for those JJAC4s, but there just aren't going to be enough to go around. So, your best bet at getting a wide directional carving board right now for this season is the Exegi double wide at carversconnection.com. What we got here is a couple early attempts to carve the CC logo. I think I was getting close, but actually the animation was way better.